What's up, noobs? There are mixed feelings and reviews of Dragon's Dogma 2, some love it, some hate it, and a lot are just meh. And that's mostly talking about the gameplay, but what is really the story of this game? Let's get into it. Warning, there are spoilers ahead, so if you haven't played or finished the game yet, save this for later. And I have to admit, I'm actually one of them. I just cannot for the life of me finish this game as it feels like such a chore, but apparently I'm like 80% into the main story, so I honestly just watched the endings so I could write this review. So, the setup of this game is that it's set in a medieval fantasy world where a dragon chooses a person to fight him, called the Arisen, by taking their heart. The Arisen is the rightful heir to the throne, and when they wake up, they find out that there is a fake Arisen that has taken their place, and they need to prove this person is a fraud to become sovereign and kill the dragon. But why? So first of all, I don't understand why the dragon wants to be killed, and I don't understand why that person was chosen as the Arisen. It was literally just because he or she was there. They were the last person to still be alive on the battlefield, so the dragon just took the first and best they saw. I think that scene was incredibly underwhelming and boring. It would have been so much cooler if they showed some sort of heroic act, or at least played on some sort of destiny path as to why they're the Arisen, but now it's just a random soldier. This could have been such a cool moment, but right now it just seems downright unimaginative. I also don't know why the dragon took the person's heart. I feel like that should have been a bigger plot point too. For instance, they have to beat the dragon to get their heart back, because if they don't, they die within a certain amount of time or they can't love again or something like that. Not having a heart doesn't seem to have any consequence. So, the only reason for the Arisen to kill the dragon is to save everyone because that's what's right, and I don't think that's an interesting enough motivation. I feel like there are so many questions about all of this, and in the beginning I thought it was just a cool mystery to intrigue you that would be revealed as you played the game, but 2/3 into the game and it still hasn't been answered. And from what I can tell about the ending, I don't think these questions are ever answered. But let's say we accept all of that backstory and just focus on the storyline of the Arisen, which in one part is to kill the dragon, but the other part, which has the most focus, is to take the throne back. But why is it so important that the Arisen becomes sovereign? I mean, the fact that it's tradition that the Arisen is the rightful heir to the throne just seems like a made-up political rule and not necessarily something that is right. Why is the Arisen better suited to rule the kingdom just because they're supposed to kill a dragon? The Arisen could be an asshole to all they know. I feel like if I was the Arisen, I wouldn't necessarily want to rule. They've conveniently made it so that the queen is kind of bad, so it's morally good to overthrow the throne. But if that wasn't the case, is it really the best thing to do? I just don't think the stakes for this plot point is high enough. The only motivational factor here is, that is the rule, so we need to do it. And what are really the consequences if they don't? Things stay as they are? There is no indication that the way the kingdom is ruled is that bad. So again, why? I feel like I'm missing the part of the story where the Arisen doesn't want to be the Arisen, they didn't sign up for this shit, and now they're suddenly supposed to kill a dragon and become a ruler? As a classic hero tale, I miss the classic hero arc, and I wish there had been some conflict in that sense. Maybe through some of the side quests, or they fall in love, they change their mind and feel a need to save those people, and they actually have some motivation to become the Arisen, the sovereign, and fulfill their purpose. Right now, they just accept it straight away, no questions asked, no hero's journey. The beginning is what's supposed to pull you in and intrigue you, and the second act is supposed to answer some of those questions to keep you intrigued, but at this point, I'm just not interested or invested at all. Which is why I've stopped playing. Along with, of course, being a noob and not getting past all the goddamn monsters that's everywhere. As I've understood, there are 3 possible endings. One is that you sacrifice the one you love and get the throne without having to kill the dragon. This just seems like lazy writing created only to have 3 endings. First of all, I don't feel like I get a connection with any of the NPCs anyway, so why not sacrifice them? But if I did, I feel like this would have been the evil ending, but it doesn't make sense because we haven't really had any role-playing aspects where we're allowed to play evil, so this shouldn't even have been an option. The second ending is saving your loved one, killing the dragon, and getting the throne. This ending is incredibly predictable, as this has been the setup from the beginning the whole time, and there's no discovery or intrigue in this at all. Just a very childish and basic fairy tale of a person wanting to get the throne, because everybody wants to be a king or queen, so you don't need any more reason than that. I think the first ending, instead of killing your loved one, should have been that after saving them and killing the dragon, you let the prince or Brant become sovereign instead. Having the option to not want the power, but wanting to give it to the right person and then sailing off into the sunset with your significant other instead. But the third ending is actually already hinted at by the Rivage Elder by the Sea. I don't know if you guys talked to him, but he was being very meta and talking about a real world outside of this world, and the only way to end the cycle was to not kill the dragon. But watching this ending, I got very confused. Stabbing your own heart instead of the dragon gets you to some sort of red world, and your pawn is a drake. And if you now kill the dragon, the cycle ends and the world is free or something? I feel like this was a very complicated ending to a story that has so far been very basic. This story is either super simple or overly complicated. I don't think that this ending is the best either, because it's so much backstory that gets compacted into the very last bit of the game. If this had been hinted at throughout the game, more than just an old man yapping away, but that you got the sense that killing the dragon wouldn't fix things, or that this isn't actually the real world, then maybe this could have worked better. Having this much exposition and explanation at the very end seems like a waste of story to me. My conclusion is that I think this story is lacking a lot in mostly 2 points. One is the logical aspect. Even in a fantasy and magical setting, things need to make sense, and the dragon, the Arisen, and just both of the plot points don't add up, and there are no reasonable explanations to why things are as they are or why they need to be fulfilled. And that leads to the second point, which is motivation. If I don't understand the logic and there is no real consequence or stakes for the hero, there is no motivation and no reason to do anything, and that just makes the story boring. Story-wise, Dragon's Dogma 2 does not hold up for me, and it was frankly quite disappointing. So if you're like me and play games because you want to be immersed in a world and a story, and don't necessarily like boss fights and hundreds of monsters, I don't recommend this game. But please do fight me on this if you think I missed out on a great third act. That's it. Vanoobie out.